What if I told you that the idea of taking 10,000 steps a day for your health was actually, technically, a myth? That might sound a bit strange, but just like drinking 8 glasses of 8 ounces of water per day or filling half your plate with vegetables, these things sound like they should be true, but they aren't really based on any scientific evidence. In fact, it's more about marketing than anything else. And in the 1960s, a Japanese company was trying to promote a step counting device that they were selling, and they picked the number 10,000 because apparently, and someone can double check on this, but apparently 10,000 in Japanese, that character also looks like a tiny walking person. Cute if true. Since that time, and because 10,000 is a nice round number, it's stuck. And people who have been trying to improve their health have been trying to get 10,000 steps per day ever since then. But is getting 10,000 steps per day a legitimate way to lose weight with Hashimoto's? Let's figure it out together in today's video. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Dr. Brad and welcome to the channel. I make videos on the best natural strategies that you can use to help support your Hashimoto's and hypothyroid symptoms. And over the years, I've helped thousands of people to naturally improve their energy, lose weight, and be able to engage in their life in the way that they want to. So if you like this kind of information, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and click on the bell for notifications when new videos drop every Thursday. Now, something we've all been taught, and the thing that I always like to bring up whenever any of my videos even touch on the topic of weight loss, is that the standard recommendation is always exercise more and eat less. And the thought process behind that is we're trying to help people create a caloric deficit. That way, their body will start to lose weight. But we know that although that plays a role in weight loss, it doesn't tell us the whole picture, and it doesn't always apply well to people with Hashimoto's. Now, this whole walking thing, whether it's walk 10 steps or walk 10,000 steps, although it might have some good intentions behind it, to me, it's really just a veiled way of trying to get people to do part of that equation, which is exercise more. If you're not exercising, well, maybe you'll walk, and a good way to do that is to give someone a target number that they can work towards. Like we said in the intro, 10,000 is a nice round number that's easy to remember. And I agree with this as well. Whenever we're trying to give people actionable steps, we want to make things as simple as they can be. In the end, we want people to get results, and it's not always important for every single person to understand every little bit of their physiology and what's actually going into a strategy that they're choosing. With that said, we always need to look at exercise within the context of Hashimoto's. And the problem with telling someone that they need to walk more isn't just that it's overly simplistic for Hashimoto's itself, but it's also because the model that it's based on isn't entirely accurate. So let's talk about that a bit more. By now, you already know the formula, but let's go over it one more time just to be clear. So our bodies burn a certain amount of calories per day, and that is referred to as TEE, or total energy expenditure. In the standard normie way of looking at things, if we bring in more calories than our TEE, we are going to gain weight. And if we bring in less calories than our TEE, we're going to lose weight. Now, depending on our goals and what we want to do, the answers should be pretty simple. To lose weight, we can either eat less than our TEE, or we can bump our TEE up, that's going to be hard to say all day, by exercising more or increasing our burn rate. The more you exercise, the more you burn, the bigger your deficit, the more you lose weight. But the problem with this is it relies on the philosophy that our metabolism is additive in nature, meaning that our energy expenditure is a static number. And doing things like changing our exercise or changing our food habits won't have any compensatory reaction. To make things a little clearer, I always think of the additive theory kind of like our metabolism is made of building blocks. Those building blocks are solid and rigid, and they don't change much. And if you were to stack them all up, once you have that full stack, that would tell you exactly how many calories you burned in a day. So you would have maybe 2,000 calories of maintenance calories and then you'd add 1,000 calories from exercise, and then maybe you add another 500 calories from walking. When it's all said and done, you just total up the different blocks, and that's exactly how many calories you would burn in a day. But if you're someone with Hashimoto's, you probably already know from experience that this additive theory of our metabolism isn't exactly true. But the reason you know it's not true is because you've tried to stack extra blocks on your block tower before. Maybe you joined a 30-day exercise class or did some sort of intensive boot camp. And just ask yourself, what were the results? Sure, you may have lost a little weight in the beginning, but for most people, those results are going to plateau relatively quickly. And that's all because that's how our metabolism works. It adapts. So whether you have Hashimoto's or not, the metabolism of human beings is not infinitely additive. And instead, we refer to our total energy expenditure as being constrained. This means that, although there is some wiggle room, in general, as our physical activity increases, our metabolism is going to compensate, and it's going to decrease caloric burn in other areas of our physiology. So whenever you're trying to add new blocks to your caloric burn stack, your metabolism is noticing that, and it's removing a few from the bottom, keeping things at relatively the same height. The other issue with just exercising more and more and more is a bit more specific to people with Hashimoto's. And that is, although exercise has a ton of benefits, there's still a component to it which requires us to break down and damage tissue. Now, typically that's not a problem because that breakdown is what stimulates our body to grow back stronger. But if our system is already in an inflamed state, which it tends to be in these autoimmune situations, it's very common that we can't tolerate any additional increase in inflammation. So when we exercise too much and we're really pushing our bodies because that's what we think we need to do, it's much more likely that someone with Hashimoto's or with an autoimmune condition can induce symptomatology similar to overtraining syndrome, which can then make all the things that they're already dealing with much worse. And if you want to learn more about how too much exercise isn't actually helpful for you and the mechanism behind that, I'll link for you my video on that specific topic. So the key takeaways here are that our metabolism isn't a simple math equation, and whenever we do more, our body compensates for that by burning a little bit less. And also the fact that when we try to do more, when we try to do too much for our system, it can actually lead to more inflammation, and that can impact our symptoms in a negative fashion as well. Both of which don't necessarily help us to feel better or help us to achieve our goal of trying to lose weight more efficiently. But it's not all bad news. And there are some ways where increasing our walking can provide a huge benefit for us. Our modern world is not always conducive to movement. And many people do not make it a priority to have regular movement be part of their day. Now, I know I just said that our metabolism isn't additive and physical activity doesn't scale for infinity, but we do see in the research that there is a difference between total energy expenditure for people who are sedentary and people who are still not athletes but more active on a regular basis. For example, for adults who are sedentary, they can expect their total energy expenditure to be about 1.5 or 1.7 times greater than their resting energy expenditure. This compares to an adult who is mildly active, who might have a total energy expenditure that is 2 or 2.5 times greater than their resting energy expenditure. While resting energy expenditure can vary quite a bit, if we were to just give the example of it being 1,000 calories per day, then someone who is sedentary might have a total energy expenditure of 1,500 or 1,700 calories per day, compared to someone who is mildly active who might burn 2,000 or 2,500 calories per day. Now again, we have to be careful, and this difference isn't going to scale forever. But the point here is that there is a difference. And even though in the best case scenario, the sedentary adult versus the active adult is only going to be about 1,000 calories, even if that doesn't help someone to necessarily lose weight, it can be helpful for better weight maintenance And it might aid someone who could be making some mistakes with their nutrition to have a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more forgiveness. The next benefit is that as we walk more, even though it might not help with our weight loss goals, this low impact style of exercise can provide us all the other benefits of movement and exercise, and it can do so without overtaxing our system. This can help with things like managing our stress, improving our mental health, reducing joint and muscle pain, improving our sleep quality and duration. All of which, and I think you would agree, are huge benefits, and they can have a massive impact on the quality of our lives. And finally, although walking might not have a direct impact on our weight loss because of some of those metabolism shifts that we just described, it can have an indirect impact because of all the benefits that we just covered. One of my big gripes about eat less and exercise more is that despite its flaws, if we were to accept that that was the way to go, when people give that information, they never explain how to actually do that. And I think in a world where people are busy, people are stressed, people are not sleeping well, they're surrounded by hyper processed and easily accessible foods, yeah, eating less in theory might make sense, but how do you actually accomplish that? Well, by doing something like walking regularly and getting those benefits of less stress, less pain, better sleep, the knock on effect from that is that we can actually make better choices when it comes to our food. Nutrition is and always will be the biggest player when it comes to supporting a healthy metabolism. And if we can leverage our exercise to help us make better nutritional choices, and regular walking is the way that we do that, then it doesn't matter if the benefits are direct or indirect, it's still going to have a positive impact on our health. So let's run through a quick recap and finish with our final recommendations. If a person is sedentary, walking more is likely to confer some weight loss in the beginning, or at the very least, assist with weight maintenance. Continued and sustained weight loss is less likely to occur in the long run due to normal adaptations in our metabolism. The effects of physical activity are not additive, and you'll likely see a diminishing level of return even if you put in more effort, as our metabolism compensates and reduces caloric burn in other areas of our physiology. However, there are other health benefits that one can receive from increasing their daily step count. Those other benefits are non-trivial and may help to support better metabolism and better weight loss through indirect mechanisms. So what do I recommend to my patients? Unless you're someone who is severely chronically fatigued or in chronic pain, then I think it's best to move every day. Now, this might seem like a lot to some people, but I believe that the human body was designed to move. And having days where we're not moving runs counter to our very nature, especially if we're trying to actively work to improve our health. While it is preferable to get a mix of activities, including low impact movement like walking, cardiovascular exercise, and resistance training, in the beginning, walking can be a perfect place to start because it's easy to do, easy on the body, and it delivers results. I like people to forget about the step count and first focus on just doing a little bit more than what they're doing right now. Ideally, that looks something like 15 to 30 minutes of walking every day in the morning outside. Keep in mind that if it does have an impact on our weight, it will likely be small. But if we can be consistent with it, it can help us to make better choices, improve our health, and in the long run, achieve those weight loss goals. But leave me a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. Are you making regular movement a part of your routine? And if you are, what activities are you choosing to do? Is walking something that you like to incorporate? And if so, do you have a certain amount of steps that you like to shoot for? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts and what's been working well. If you like this video but need some help crafting the exact nutrition and exercise plan that will help you out with your symptoms, and you're looking for more support and are interested in working with me one-on-one, then send me an email to contact@seattlethyroidhelp.com. And once we hear from you, my staff will reach out, see if you qualify, and then set you up for a free consultation. During the consultation, we'll talk about what symptoms you're dealing with, what your goals are, and figure out if it's something I can help with. It's absolutely no pressure, and we just want to make sure that you're in the right spot for you. So we'll decide together as a team whether or not it's a good fit to move forward. If you'd rather keep learning on your own, you can check out any of the other videos on the channel. You can grab either one of my free downloads linked in the description box. One is the nutritional plan that I use for a lot of my patients with Hashimoto's, and the other is an electrolyte recipe that I provide to people who are following a ketogenic or low carb way of eating. Or you can follow me on social media where I post daily tips and strategies. Links for Facebook and Instagram are also down below. But that is it for this one. I hope that we didn't tread through too much information today. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it useful. If you did like it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. My name is Dr. Brad Bodle. I love you guys. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next one.